Hi, everyone, and welcome to Baka Bitches. We are two 30-something-year-olds who enjoy drinking and discussing anime. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Hannah, and we'll be watching Ouran High School Host Club. And just fair warning, we will be watching this as a dub and not a sub. Don't come at us. Other disclaimer is that there will be spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, pause and watch the episode yourself and then come back and listen along. We will also be going over explicit content and we'll probably say some pretty explicit things. So listener, beware, and it's to your own discretion.
We hope you enjoy. Pour yourself a drink and join us. Hey everyone, and welcome to our podcast where we are discussing Ouran High School Host Club, Episode 1, starting today, You Are a Host. Before we get into a synopsis of this episode, Hannah, can you tell us what we will be drinking tonight?
Yes, I can. And I made a wonderful little cocktail with random things that were in your fridge. Half of it is blueberry sake, and the other half is this peach Jack Daniels thing can that I found in your fridge.
Sounds about right. I'm not really sure how long that's been there, Hannah, but this drink is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Alrighty, guys. So to give everyone who has not seen this or has maybe not seen this in a while, a brief synopsis of this episode is that we are meeting our character, Haruhi, for the first time, and we learn that she has received a scholarship to this very prestigious school called Ouran Academy, and she's mistaken as a male due to her short hair and boyish appearance. She stumbles across the host club while looking for a quiet place to study and accidentally breaks a vase worth 8 million yen. In order to pay off her debt, she is forced to work as the club's errand boy. Once the hosts realize that Haruhi has a natural talent for entertaining girls, she's promoted to host in training and is told that her debt will be forgiven if she obtains 100 paying customers. Even after they discover that she's a female, they choose to keep that a secret because she's earning more as being an undercover male host. On her first day as host, Haruhi irritates one of the long-standing customers that Tamaki has, and she's incredibly jealous of any attention that is not being provided to her. So she ends up destroying Haruhi's book bag by throwing it out a window and into a pool of water where it has to get fished out. And as a result, our former client is now banned from the club, and Haruhi's debt is raised to 1,000 customers. All right, so since this is episode 1, we are really just introduced to all of the main characters that we are going to see throughout this series. So I think we should probably start with just describing all of the characters so that our audience has an understanding of who the characters are and our initial thoughts on them.
All right, perfect. So where do we want to start? Do we start with Haruhi?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right,
She's
fantastic.
our protagonist.
She is. She's our golden child, if you will.
So in my notes, I initially wrote down, because I have the context of having already seen the show, I already know that, you know, she is indeed a female. So despite what I saw of her, initially I knew that she was just dressed to look the part of a boy when we saw her. So, what I wrote down about her was that she was dressed mousy, which is really kind of a put down way of describing a woman who is kind of like disheveled looking and not really well put together and overall pretty plain. And I feel like it was interesting that I described her that way, even knowing what I know about her. But I do feel like it's an accurate representation of really how she was looking when we first cut to her in the initial intro scene. What did you think?
I would have to agree with that. And I also would say that she is kind of boring, to be honest. I feel like boring's a good word for her. She is a Mary Sue type, which is a very common trope in anime, especially when it comes to harem type animes, or reverse harem animes.
Tell us a little bit about what those types of animes entail, Hannah.
All right. So a harem anime is basically either a one male, which is usually the protagonist, and the other characters are basically female characters. And in a reverse harem, which is what Ouran Host Club is it's the main character is a female and the rest of the characters are males. And usually the main character is very generic, and I get the trope, and why they do that is so you can basically project yourself into that character being surrounded by whatever gender tickles your fancy. So in this case, Haruhi is the protagonist in this reverse harem. So she doesn't have much of a personality other than, well, I don't care what you call me. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. So it doesn't lend to a very strong personality.
I guess that's kind of what makes her feel easily identifiable with. So when you're kind of like, oh, she's just average and just all these crazy things are happening to her, makes you feel like it could happen to me.
Because I'm a Mary
Because
Sue.
I'm so average. Or maybe that's just me.
No, it's very much that they didn't, and they never want to give those kinds of characters too much personality, because then they literally become their own character, and it's harder to, I mean, maybe you can connect with her, but you can't project yourself in that situation. So, of course, they got to keep her typically kind of bland. She does kind of develop some characteristics, but that's later down the road.
Yeah, so initially when we're introduced to her, I feel like they try to give us just enough of her character so that she seems somewhat three-dimensional. So we learn right off the bat that her mom had passed away when she was younger. So, you know, that helps you identify with her. If you've, you know, lost a parent or a loved one close to you, that, you know, you can identify with, you know, that kind of feeling of just loneliness of someone close to you having passed. And you know, feeling out of place where you are, which is how it's portrayed that she feels, right? She's at this school where everybody is rich and she is incredibly not rich, even so much as that she can't afford the school uniform, which I would think that if she is so smart that she was already gifted this scholarship to this prestigious high school, that they would be like, it's cool. We'll hook you up. Here's a uniform to use. But no, instead, they're going to make her even more ostracized by the fact that she's not only poor, but now she visually represents being poor because she doesn't match anyone else who goes there now.
No.
Like, how does this even fly?
Well, it doesn't even make sense in how we see her.
Oh no, plot holes incoming.
Yeah, sorry. Usually I suppose, or I assume, I've seen in other animes that if a student from one school transfers to another and they don't have the uniform for the new school, usually they wear their previous school's uniform because it's still a uniform. And Haruhi did indeed have a uniform from her previous school. So it doesn't make sense to me why she wasn't wearing that there. And instead it looked like she raided her father's clothes. Because they were very ill-fitting, very baggy.
All in gray, black, dreary colors.
Yeah, very dull. And it didn't really connect because, I mean, she was just so sloppy when we know for a fact, I think in the next episode even, that she was pretty put together before she had to cut her hair.
Yeah, so what about having cut her hair made her change like this, We'll get there. We'll get there.
We will.
Or will we not?
It
have to
depends
see
on
where
how
the
good
drinks
this
take
episode.
We'll have to see where my leftover refrigerator contents take us.
It'll take us so far. We got
All right.
this.
So, a statement she makes that stood out to me was she said, "I'm thinking rich kids only come to school to have a good time." It does feel relatable for me. So I don't know if you might have had a different experience, Hannah, because I went to a really large high school. And I definitely feel like that statement is true, where there was a lot of segregation among groups. And, I, of course, did not fall in with the rich kids or the popular kids, which, they were kind of one and the same. If you were rich, you were popular because you were throwing the best parties and you had the coolest things. But they were definitely the ones who, were running the clubs and did the best sports and were always picked for the teams.
Homecoming queen, I'm sure.
Right.
Always.
I don't know. How do you feel about that statement coming from a smaller high school? Do you think that that was true, that rich kids were really just at school to have a good time?
Ooh. Probably. I went to a private high school. But I wouldn't say that our school is very rich by any means. We were still doing classes in second, third-hand portable buildings that were run down. It was a very small school. My graduating class was just 30 people, including myself. So it was a very small school. And I don't think a lot of people were necessarily rich or didn't come from necessarily rich people or families. But I would say that some were definitely more well off, and they were part of the popular clique, all of, maybe 10 people in the whole high school, So there was still natural cliques, but definitely not anything like what we see in this anime for sure. So yes and no, I've had a little taste of it, but nothing to the extent of probably what a public high school would give me.
Well, you might have that to be grateful for then, because if you were not one of the rich or popular kids, you really weren't having a good time. So I can identify with Haruhi's character in that kind of just miserable going about her daily life. Although while she is on the aspect of I don't care what anyone thinks, I definitely cared. So
Yeah, that's
It's very
definitely
novel for her.
You know what? She is just wise beyond her years, being what, 15, 16, 17, I don't know. And already to the point where she didn't care what other people thought of her. That's pretty impressive, I'm going to say, especially for a teen girl.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like especially in Japan where image is everything.
Yeah, she really goes against that for sure. So she's really quite the oddball. And I guess she doesn't care. She doesn't care. That's what it comes down to. And anyways, we've probably talked enough about her. Let's move on to
Let's talk about Tamaki
ooh, yes. Let's
because I feel like he is our little ringleader of our host club.
yes, that becomes very evident that he is the lead in this group of troublemakers. Really, they're all kind of troublemakers.
So he initially calls Haruhi gay because he's like, oh, look at you. What are you doing here at this club? It must be because you have a boner for me. Because that's how arrogant he is.
Of course. But I appreciate the mindset that he doesn't care if you're a boy there looking to be entertained or a girl or what have you. He's just,
That's
hey,
true. He was
I'm here.
equally enthusiastic no matter who was walking through those doors, Attention
committed
is
to his
attention.
job.
He really,
He's
he was really
committed.
hustling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if any of these kids pay. I almost feel like it's a free service for the most part. But yeah, so he is definitely, he has that main boy protagonist personality. He's outgoing. He is, his intentions are good when he does things, but it does tend to blow up in his face, I would say. And he gets teased relentlessly from his friends. But no, I think this character has a really good heart underneath everything, but his personality is definitely to be out there and in your face about a lot of stuff.
Yes, and what was the word that Haruhi used to describe him?
Well, it took her a while to get there, but eventually she figured out for her the best word for him was obnoxious.
Would you agree or disagree with her assessment of him?
I don't personally like meeting people when they're immediately in my face. Once I get to know you, then it's fine.
Then
So-
it's okay for me to be right in your face since I know you, Hannah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can be nose to nose. It's fine.
Sponsor us if you want to see that later.
That will be on our Patreon that we haven't set up yet. Anyways, so I get her saying, oh, you know what? This guy is obnoxious because he will not leave her alone. Or him, in this case. Because, by the way, everyone still thinks that she is actually a guy. And she refuses to correct anyone for saying that because she just doesn't care.
Yeah, she's not even like, hey, by the way. She's just like rolling with it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
She's just like, what do you mean I'm gay? But leaves it at that. Well, maybe it's because of your appearance. And, this was also in 2006, mind you. So we don't have the 2022 mindset.
Yes, that's true. And I
So-
feel like we're definitely much more progressive now
Absolutely.
in just what is socially acceptable. So, in 2006 in Japan, this was much more novel to be occurring.
But it was, the anime in that respect was still very progressive because, as I said, it's not like they were saying, "Ew, what's a boy doing in here?" or
Right.
you know,
They just
anything like
embraced
that.
it.
They were just
They
like,
just
"All right,
embraced it.
we're game." You know, who do you like? We have XY type.
They're
and
they're
blah, blah,
there.
blah.
They're a host club. They're hosting. Doesn't matter what you are
Yeah.
or who you are.
They're here to accommodate you. So yeah, I can appreciate Tamaki and his mindset about, I guess, how to run a host club. So, you know, maybe he's gonna be a manager of a $30 million host club enterprise.
Oh, is that
when he's
where we were
older.
going? I was going to say manager of a supermarket someday.
Oh, there
You know,
we go.
I'm wondering how he even became the leader of this host club. You know, like, was he the ringleader of a middle school host club and an elementary school host club? How does one fall into becoming a host club leader?
Especially in high school.
Yeah, how does that even happen?
Bored rich people.
Okay, I mean, I feel like a lot of holes.
There are.
We're
There are a
gonna
lot of
poke
potholes.
all the holes in this, and
Yes.
this is definitely one of them. You know, so if you guys have any thoughts or ideas to express to us on how you think Tamaki came into this role as host club leader, we would love to hear them, even if they're just speculation or theories. You know, we want to hear all of it and consider it, and you know, maybe take your ideas for our own if they're super good.
Oh yeah, not give any credit whatsoever. I'm just kidding.
All
I'm
the
just
credit.
kidding.
All the credit.
We will. We'll give all credit. And also, I'm gonna preface this as well that I have not read the manga for it. So
I
there
didn't
might
even
be
know there was
some
a manga for it.
There's always a manga for
Fair.
shows like that. They
Fair.
start out as manga and then they get anime adaptations usually. So there might be tidbits and extra information in those pages. We just haven't
Yeah.
done that. So don't come at us about that. I'm sorry. We're 30-something-year-olds with jobs and lives and stuff. We don't have the time right now. If I was maybe 15 years younger, then sure. Yeah. Okay. But not right now. So anyways, get back to us with maybe your headcanon for that as well, if you have any. So that's our ringleader. He's
Okay.
loud. He's obnoxious.
Obnoxious. And I also deemed him as smooth talker.
He is.
Because he does feel like he kind of is always verbally flattery and trying to talk his way one way or another into whatever he wants to get or see happen.
Oh yeah, and I think it works for him a majority of the time, except when it
It
comes
works
to
for
Haru.
everyone except for Haruhi and all of his other friends in the host club who really see through him but just let him go about his antics.
Well, he's
even
still
encouraging
kinda lovable.
it. Right, absolutely. They all are in their own ways.
Oh yeah.
So, speaking of lovable, let's talk about our little tiny lovables. So we've got our teeny tiny little boy type. I don't know how to say his name, so I'm going to hope you can.
Okay, say it. Say it first. I'll correct. It's fine.
Mitsukuni.
Close. Mitsukuni.
Mitsukuni. I swear, guys, I am actually half Asian.
And I am actually white.
Good job, Hannah. You know more than I do.
I'm just a nerd. It's fine.
They frequently refer to him as Honey in the dubbed version. So that's what I'm going to call him because it's easier for me to remember. And it just really, I feel like it really exudes what his character is all about. You know, he's always got this sleepy, dazed look in his eyes. He's usually carrying around a stuffed animal or a blanket. Doing things like losing his slipper, you know.
The dream. To be rich and act like a little kid.
The real dream is climbing up that tall, hunky, masculine man.
Oh, which one?
Takashi?
Yeah.
Yes. Nailed
Yeah,
it.
you did it.
Who we don't really hear much from, but that's his type.
Strong silent type.
Strong and silent type.
Can't get enough of that. Yeah, those two really play off each other.
Such an interesting pairing.
I mean, I get it, you know.
What strong silent type wants this dazed, crazy little boy climbing them like a tree? I mean, maybe let's not answer that question.
Oh, okay.
But
I won't.
it just seemed like an awful lot.
Well, I mean, I
this little
get the
boy is a
pairing.
third year.
Yeah.
What's he doing? How's he here?
He is there.
He get a scholarship too?
I mean, no, he got
Super
his
rich?
parents' money.
Is he actually old and he just like acts like an 8-year-old?
Yeah.
Or is he actually an 8-year-old that's so smart he skipped a bunch of grades?
But continues to act his age.
Right. Which one is it?
That's a double plot twist.
We don't know. I don't feel like
No.
it's really ever explained, and it's certainly not explained in our pilot episode.
Not in depth. We just see him as this cute little kid character, which for a host, you have to be a very specific type of girl to want that. And that really, I mean, that's a different box to unpack, I think.
I feel like if you're a girl who's into that, you're probably a younger girl.
I would hope.
And if you're a younger girl, you should not be watching this anime.
I mean,
While it's quite wholesome
yeah.
overall, it definitely has adult themes and so much sexual innuendo in it
Oh, yeah.
that if you're like 8, which is a reasonable age to be into this character, you shouldn't be watching this.
No, definitely. I mean, none of this. I don't want a kid watching about high schoolers playing like adults and having a host club to begin with. But Honey is for me, I can enjoy the character as this bundle of innocence. And what I would say, he's a cinnamon roll. People who are like me, who live on the internet and have since their teenage years, understand that cinnamon roll is like a name you give to something that's super adorable, but there's no sexual undertones to it. It's just straight up like, that's a cinnamon roll. I want to protect it with my life. Like, kind of like you would with your favorite pet, you know?
And I do kind of feel that way through the episodes, you know, and even in our pilot, you know, what we see is, you know, the girls are all fawning over these guys for their various aspects, be it their smooth talkingness or their mischievousness or strong silent typeness. But really with Honey, it's just, it never feels sexual with them. It's really just like,
Thank goodness.
how cute.
Yeah,
oh my
just
gosh, the
adorable.
sweetest. Let me just give you a hug and give you a cookie and here's a biscuit and a crumpet and let me tuck you in bed and give you your slipper back.
You know, and maybe that's what it is these girls or whoever who are hanging out with Honey in the host club are like, I have a younger sibling and they annoy the crap out of me. But when I'm over here, I adore Honey and it's like having the best sibling ever and they're so cute and I just want to dote on them and kind
A
of
little bit of
project-
momminess with them too. Like,
maybe.
let me just play mommy.
Yeah,
it's just
you know,
so
let me
fun.
take care of this little kid, but he's not really technically a little kid.
Right.
He's a teenager in one of the higher grades. I mean, good grief. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it's not the first nor the last time we see characters like this in anime.
Yeah, definitely true. I feel like there's at least one of these in every anime. Like,
Just
they're like a
about.
staple character type.
Yeah, for sure. And that's not just specifically boy characters either. It happens with girl characters.
Oh, boy, does it ever happen with girl characters.
Yeah.
Usually it's always like that little girl.
That little girl who plays like she's 10, 11, 12, and you're like, ooh. But that almost, that's probably a different rant. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Okay,
We'll
let's
find
move
an
on.
anime like that for our next series.
We probably
for
will.
sure. All right. So speaking of different character types, so then we have our Double Trouble mischievous type.
Oh boy, are they ever? This is where there's a lot to unpack here too, for very different reasons. The twins, they are very popular in this host club.
The twins,
Specifically
named
because
Hannah. Let's hear them.
No, go ahead. You say them. I'll correct you. I love this game.
It's like I will literally be as quiet as possible right now.
You got this.
Okay. Karu and Hikaru.
Ooh, you got Hikaru.
Nice. Nailed it.
But it's Kaoru.
Karu.
Kaoru.
Hikaru.
Kaoru. Yeah, they are very popular for all the wrong reasons. And I know it's...
unless you're into incest, then it's all the right reasons.
Hey, that's twincest.
But
It's bad. It's bad either way. And it's really concerning. I have a lot of concerns for the types of girls that are just in love with them as they flirt and touch each other. It still kind of creeps me out. I don't care what gender they are, same gender, different genders. Doesn't matter. They're still literally twins.
I'm going to be honest, even if they weren't related at all, do you really want to see anyone being that openly PDA in front of you on a regular basis?
And not to me? Absolutely. I have problems with that.
But really, like, a lot of the acts that they do, which they really are just acts. Well, at least I like to tell myself that they're just acts.
It was neither confirmed nor denied.
But I feel like even if it was just, a high school boyfriend, girlfriend, and they're just, licking blood off the other's finger.
No.
Or staring longingly into each other's eyes while caressing their cheek. Ugh. I don't want to see any of that.
No.
Just go somewhere else. So, yet alone the fact that we know that these are, two twin brothers just gives it an extra level of ick factor.
Yeah, it never sat with me real well when I first watched this, when I was much younger. And even now, going back and rewatching it, the twin thing is it makes me speechless still, because I don't know. It's too much for my heart. My poor heart can't handle that kind of sibling affection, I guess. And luckily we don't necessarily see too much of this kind of incestual stuff in regular anime. Well, okay, there is another anime title, but maybe we'll save that for another season.
Give us a spoiler. What is the anime name?
It's called Vampire Knight, and you nerds know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll save that for another time. But yeah, so. Yeah, I don't know if they, all of these boys sat around at a table and they said, okay, we see you twins. You know what would be great? If you practically touch lips when you talk to each other, and you do it really affectionately, and you basically imply that you are boning each other outside of school, and then what girl goes for that? I don't know. I could rant about it forever. So, but I won't. I won't.
All right. So what's our next character?
So our next character would be our he's behind the scenes, right? He would be our cool type, and why don't you say the name?
That's so mean. You know I can't say his name, Hannah. For reference, guys, I have a printed wiki sheet with faces and names all printed out on it for me because this is how I keep it straight. So, if you guys don't know, Hannah is our resident anime expert. I enjoy anime, but not quite with as much passion as Hannah does.
I was born with anime in my blood.
So here we are. It's going to be great content. Okay, I think his name is Kyoya. Kyoya.
Yeah. No.
Kyoya.
Kyoya. You had it the first
Wow.
time.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailing all of it.
Yes.
I'm doing amazing.
And what we find out is he is basically the showrunner of this group. He's
Right.
behind
He
the
lets
scenes.
Tamaki think that he's running things when
Oh.
really he's pulling all the strings.
Tamaki is the face, if you will, the personality, but really it's Kyoya that's running that steamboat or train or whatever. He's just.
I mean,
he's
they're
doing
rich.
it.
It's probably a yacht.
Oh yeah, fair. It's a yacht. Yeah. So we have Kyoya. He's our cool type. He is kind of mysterious in a way because he doesn't say much, kind of like our other tall, silent type. But he's the manager. He knows how to make money off of this host club.
Which that's obviously what they need is just more money.
Yeah,
Because they're not spending crazy amounts of money on whatever fun shenanigans they want to have for that particular day or even hour as they transform the club overnight into various partying venues.
Yeah, different themes and all of that. No, like he is the brain for the whole operation. And honestly, I can relate to Kyoya in that sense.
Because you're the brain of this operation?
No, because I noticed his personality is that he finds a way to turn anything into a profit. And that's usually where my mind goes. Granted, I have not actually turned anything into a profit yet. But that's where my mind goes, where it's like, oh, if I do this, I can take this part and make money off of it.
Right, to have a business mindset.
Yes. And I grew up in that. So I can see like, oh, I could probably make money off of things, but do I do that? No, I don't.
Your potential is there, Hannah. You got it.
It's so much
Your
potential. Now that I'm in my 30s.
Amazing. There's no better time than the present, right?
Better late than never?
I mean, yeah, for some of us. All right, so that I feel like fully summarizes our main characters that we see reoccurring throughout our series here. So my main question for you, Hannah, is what is your preferred host type?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I don't think there's just one type. I love a smooth talker, but I also like the cool and collected type. You mix those two together, they're just unstoppable.
The cool, smooth talker? I would say so.
I mean, what girl would not, buckle at the knees for that?
Yeah, that definitely does sound quite alluring.
Doesn't it?
as much as I want to agree that that would be my type too, I feel like I am most drawn to that curious, mischievous, playful nature. Not the
Ooh.
twincest. Not here for that aspect of it.
Right.
But I'm here for all the fun, all the games, doing something different all the time. You never know what to expect. And I'm here. I'm full fucking here for that roller coaster of rides. The high highs and the low lows. Like, let's do it. Let's buckle up.
Ooh, boy.
Let's do it. I mean, if the low gets too low, then you just abandon ship. You find the next one.
You find the next exciting adventure.
Yeah, that's the plan.
next set of incestuous twins.
Nope.
Oh.
Already said not here
No?
for that part.
Oh, okay.
All the other parts.
Everything else but that. Okay. I see you. I get it.
Yeah. So I feel like that's about it for episode 1, because we're really just set up to find out that Haruhi has broken that 8 million yen
Vase. That's when you know it's expensive, is when you call it a vase.
which for our American listeners is about $54,000, and that was as of 2006. So
Ooh.
a hell of a lot more if you count inflation.
Ooh, especially 20.
So that's how she
inflation.
gets roped into Host Club, because she owes this massive debt because she accidentally bumped into this vase, knocked it over and broke it. So now she's in debt. So that's how she ends up becoming part of this Host Club.
Shenanigans, really. And
We're using the word shenanigans a lot because it exemplifies so much of the show.
it does. I mean, and she goes along with it. I mean, she's running around doing chores.
I think she kind of likes it. She's not really had a social thing before, right? And I feel like she's kind of here for it.
Deep down, maybe. But outwardly, she doesn't show it too much.
Yeah, she does seem pretty neutral, but I mean, I don't feel like she would really keep coming back if she didn't have to. I mean, I know she says it's like, oh, I have this debt I need to pay off. But I feel like if it really was so irksome to her that she could just be like, I have to study, which you
True.
think that she would, because she's only going to the school based on a scholarship.
Right. I feel like she'd need the urgency to study all of the time because
Instead of
it's on her
spending
smarts.
all this time on the so-called shenanigans that we're seeing.
But let's be honest, we haven't even seen a teacher on campus. It's just these students in a quote-unquote abandoned music room, which is the host club, and not a teacher, not a principal in sight. So, you know, it almost seems like a really overpaid for like kindergarten or daycare for these teenagers.
I would love to be a teacher at this school.
Ooh, you know what? Me
where you
too.
could just take a hands-off approach and the kids just leave you alone. They just go to the music room and entertain themselves. You could just like crawl underneath your desk and take a nap.
Oh, a nap sounds heavenly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so rich. They just take care of themselves.
And do you think the pay would be better?
I mean, I'm hoping that some parents might pay me off to give their kids a good grade.
Ooh, there you go.
If the price was right, I would do it.
I mean, that's
Just kidding. Wait, I'm not an educator. Doesn't matter. I'd do it.
I mean, it's basically math 101 for the rich, right? Just how many
Is this a school
dollars?
of hard knocks?
How
We'll
many
pay what it
dollars does
takes.
it take to pay off this person? Count it out, son. 1,000, 2,000.
Here for it.
Yeah. But it's good. Like, as much as I bash this anime or I'm kind of critical of the characters or what they do, I really do love this anime. It's one of my comfort animes, something that I'll watch from time to time. So, you know, I can't complain. I'm excited about this.
I definitely am too. I'm looking forward to our next episode where we discuss episode 2.
Ooh, boy, me too.
All right, everyone. Well, it has been nice. We hope that you enjoyed reminiscing with us or watching this for the first time if you're watching this alongside us.
Well, listening, really.
Exactly. We feel so close to you that we feel like you're here with us.
Yeah, that's right. Watching us constantly.
Alrighty.
All right.
Baka, bye.